Okay. Visi gali mane girdėti? Taip. Super. Okay. Ačiū visi, kad prisijungėt mūsų dažnai užduodamų klausimų sesiją. Sutaupyti visiems laiko. Mes norim viską angliškai daryti. Tai klausimas jums visiems. Ar niekam netrukdytų, jeigu mes viską angliškai darysim, ar jeigu turit klausimų lietuviškai, mes žinoma atsakysim lietuviškai, but okay.
Yeah, so because there have been requests that that we translate everything into English, if it's okay with everyone, we'll just do the entire thing in English, because when we have to do it in Lithuanian and then translate into English, it ends up being a very long event. And so if it's okay with everyone, we'll do it just in English and it will be recorded. And if at the end anyone wants to ask a question in another language, we can answer in that language. Whether it's Lithuanian or maybe even in Spanish, we can do that as well. So, okay, so if English is okay, we will do everything in English going forward.
Super. Gintare, you first.
Sure. So before setting in on these questions and answers, we have just a few announcements. Firstly is that each delegate and participant will have to sign and return to us a liability waiver and code of conduct to be able to participate in Kongresas. And we will email those to you in the next few days or very shortly. So please keep an eye out for those. Secondly, we're still looking for a few responses for the travel information form. So we ask that you fill those out for us so that we can be aware of your travel information, know when we should expect you, when you might need to leave. So I'll go ahead and share the link to that form in the chat after this last announcement that we'll send the schedule out to everyone before Kongresas, and during Kongresas we'll also provide a printed copy of the day's schedule each day. So yeah, that should do me. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. So now about preparing for Kongresas before you fly out or begin traveling to Boston. We have put together a packing list and we are still working on it. And Alina will put the link for that packing list in the chat in a bit, or, oh, Gintare sent another link. So you guys can check back on that packing list every so often and see what's on there, and it should be complete soon. I'm not going to read everything off, but just some things to point out from the packing list. Be sure that you have your passport and make sure that it's up to date. If you are traveling from a country that requires a visa, make sure you have all of that documentation. We will talk about proof of vaccination later on, but that's one thing that is on the list. If you are a minor, so if you are less than 18 years old, we will ask that you get a letter from a parent or from a guardian indicating that you are allowed to travel with us from the US to Canada, and we can help send out a template for that, for what that should look like. In terms of clothing, most of our time will be spent in Neringa or even sort of walking around these cities. And so bring comfortable clothes that you can wear all day long and walk around in. Do bring comfortable shoes to walk around in as well. And there will be a couple of events that are nicer. And so you should bring probably at least 2 nice outfits. So dresses, or for the men, like a nicer shirt. For ladies, a dress, a skirt, whatever. And those will be 2 events, one happening in Boston, one happening in Montreal. There's also going to be shoke, a dance in Neringa. And so if you want to wear a dress for that or dress up nicely, you don't have to, but you certainly can. So comfortable clothes are totally fine, but do bring 2 nicer outfits.
And then for the actual suvažiavimas portion, we are not requiring anyone to bring laptops or anything. All you need to bring is yourself. We're going to be voting in person with cards. And so everyone on the our Valdyba, our komitetas, and some people from PLJK are going to have their laptops on them. If you want to bring your laptop, you are more than welcome to, but we're not requiring anyone to have, any sort of laptops or anything on them.
In terms of bedding and towels, so when we are staying in Boston and in Montreal, we're staying in like hotels and in dormitories where all of the bedding and the towels will be provided. We are working very hard for, while we're in Neringa, to have bedding linens provided for everyone. We're going to pay for that, so you don't have to bring all of your bed sheets and everything. We do ask that you bring a sleeping bag for the time that we're in Neringa, if possible. And if you can borrow one from someone or maybe buy one, which is a worthwhile thing to have. If you really cannot bring a sleeping bag, please let us know. But we have gotten a few requests to provide sleeping bags for some people, and we're already having a hard time finding those sleeping bags, or it's kind of out of our budget. So if you are able to bring a sleeping bag, that's all you would need. The rest of the bedding we will provide, or will be provided in the cities, except for with towels. So we're trying to provide shower towels for Neringa. But there will be one day where we can go swimming in Neringa, and you can use that shower towel if you want. But if it's important for you to swim and that's something you're into, maybe bring another towel, because things may be growing on that towel if you use your shower towel when you go swimming. So if it's important for you to find time to swim, maybe bring your own, but we'll provide like clean shower towels for Neringa. Agita, to the Klausimų.
Yes, is it possible, you think, to buy a sleeping bag somewhere there? Because we have only the small luggage, therefore carrying it will be like half
Difficult.
of the luggage already.
Yeah. If you are arriving early in Boston, I can maybe do some work to find places in Boston that would sell them. There definitely are, whether it's a store called REI or some other place. Yeah, and we do have a lot of stores in the US where you can buy a sleeping bag that's about this compact and it's really warm. So if you are arriving early and you wish to buy a sleeping bag here, you can, and we'll probably help come up with a list of where you can go to do that. So that's a good question.
Maria,
yeah.
Would I mean, like, worst case scenario, since I'll be driving from New Jersey to Boston, like I could always pick up some sleeping bags and people could either email me or Revolut or whatever if that would be easier, just so I don't have to put it in any kind of luggage.
Totally.
We always do that. So if anyone does need that, just please let me know. I could do it.
Yeah, if you don't have a compact one, or you don't have anywhere to buy a compact sleeping bag at home, email the Kongreso's email. Alina will put that email in the chat, although you all probably know it by now. Email us and say that you would like us to buy one for you ahead of time and you'll pay us back, or you want to buy your own when you get here, and where can you do that? Just email us and we'll help coordinate that. Yeah, because we have some good ones, good quality ones here, and we can buy those ahead of time for you. And if you don't want to take it home with you, maybe we could donate those to Neringa. We'll figure out something for that. So yes, okay. So that's about sleeping bags and towels. In terms of temperature and weather, in Neringa, it can get cold at night down to like 50, which is about like 10, 12 Celsius or something around there. So do bring like a sweatshirt and like warmer sweatpants for the evenings when it can be cooler. But other than that, it can get really hot in the US in the summer. So comfortable clothes are fine. Okay, COVID entry exit requirements, Alina?
Yeah, so for COVID requirements to enter the US, you need proof of vaccination. What this means is any sort of government document that shows that you are vaccinated, that you have received your vaccine. This can be a COVID pass, this can be a card, whatever you get from your local government. That will suffice. And we recommend bringing the physical copy if you can, but if it's only virtual, then that's fine too. For the types of vaccines that are accepted in the US, we will send that around in our email that's going out after the session. that it's just the government website from the US, from the CDC, that lists out all of the vaccines that are accepted in the US. Paulius, ačiū. Paulo just put in that link, super. And then Canada has no entry requirements regarding COVID, vaccines or anything or tests like that. We might be testing while leaving Neringa, but that's unsure yet depending on our budget, but we would just prefer and ask that everyone test before they come to the US, to the first part of Kongresas. If you are a US citizen, you do not have to have a vaccination. These are for non-US citizens.
Also, this is just what the websites say. So if anyone has traveled to the US from a different country in the past year and you're like, well, no one stopped me at the border, no one checked my vaccination records, that's up to you. If anyone has any stories that they want to share about that, if you're not vaccinated and you think that you can get in without that, that's on you guys. We're just sharing what the website says. And so vaccinated or not, that's up to, we're just sharing that information. It's up to you how you handle that. We just wanted to make you guys aware that that's what the website says, even if the airports aren't doing anything about it anymore. It's better to inform you of that than not. So yes. Okay, so I had mentioned earlier with crossing the border, if you are a minor, so if you're younger than 18, we can help you with this letter, with forming the letter, but you do need a signed consent letter from a parent indicating that you are allowed to travel with this group of people from the US to Canada and then back. If you are one of the people not traveling to Canada, you don't need that and you know who you are. And we have written here that this letter does need to be notarized or certified by an attorney. So if that applies to you, if you are one of those people who's a minor under 18, reach out to us and we can help you with that so that we have no issues at the border. And worst case scenario, if something does happen at the border, we will have someone of our team to take you back to Boston or take you somewhere if you aren't let into Canada, but we think everything will be fine. Yeah.
Okay, and then regarding health insurance, travel insurance, that sort of thing, we are asking that everyone takes care of their own health and travel insurance if you want to acquire it. As part of Kongresas will be occurring in the United States, we do recommend that you obtain health insurance for the time that you are going to be in the US. And then regarding getting cash, that sort of thing. So we're going to be giving you guys cash, some cash in the US and in Canada for part of the programa. This is going to be about 15 USD and 20 CAD, Canadian dollars. And this will allow you to go and buy yourself lunch and that sort of thing, buy yourself a drink, snack, whatever. If you want to buy, other things, tchotchkes, whatever, that's going to be on your own dime. And so you can go to any ATM or bank and get cash, and that should be fine. There's also a way that you can connect your bank to an ATM system in Canada or the US. If your bank allows that, we would highly recommend. That will make it a lot easier. If not, then you can just get currency exchange at the airport in US, and you can actually exchange both USD and to Canadian dollars there. Visas, MasterCards, easily accepted in the US and Canada. And for specifically the Red Sox game that we are planning in Boston, you do not need to take out extra cash for that. The ticket will not only have your ticket of entry into the game, but it will already have $40 preloaded onto it. So that will cover food, drink, and probably any other tchotchkes, hats, whatever else you want to get. And then, regarding transportation.
I was just going to add to that. So there's no reason for you to get more cash or to take out any cash, but if you want to, there will be an option. And even walking around Boston, we'll walk past plenty of ATMs or banks where you can go in and get some cash. Yes. Okay, so we are providing a bus from Montreal back to Boston the morning of the 22nd. Originally, we were thinking, I think we had like a 7 or 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. start time for that, but I think we pushed it up even earlier to 5 a.m. or something. Is it 5 a.m. now? It's early. It's
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Okay. If people do want to do 5 a.m., we can even do that if everyone agrees to it. It is really early. We probably just won't even be sleeping the night before. But that bus is going from our hotel in Montreal straight to the Boston airport, stopping, of course, at the border, potentially another stop, depending on what is required for the driver, but a stop just to go to the bathroom, like a rest stop. It won't be, basically what we're saying is we can't make any additional stops. Like, can you drop me off at the train station? No, it's going from Montreal right to the airport. And then from there, you can go wherever you want to. So that's a good option for anyone who's flying out in the late afternoon or evening of June 22nd. And adding an extra stops would just cost us a lot of money. So it'll take you right to the airport. And so along with going off that theme of the bus leaving on the 22nd, those who wish to stay in Montreal for that day for our extra program that we are planning, it's not required, but you can stay. And we do have some hotel rooms that we are paying for the night of the 22nd. But you do have to check out of those rooms the 23rd. If you want to stay at that place for another night, you can do that and you can pay for that, or you can find your own place to stay. But the hotel rooms the night of the 22nd are the last thing that the Kongreso committee is paying for. So anything after that, you are totally on your own. And that extra day, June 22nd in Montreal, we do have a program plan, but it'll be pretty go with the flow and kind of do what you want, but we'll try to stay together as a group because by then we'll all be best friends. So, yes.
One thing to add about the bus to the Boston airport, there is free train service, so Boston Metro system, from the airport to the city. So if your flight is later or if you're staying in Boston another night, you can get from the airport to other parts of the city, or you can just Uber, Lyft, that sort of thing if you don't want to take the train. And then for rooming in Boston, Nettinga, and Montreal. So rooming in Boston is going to be bunk beds, shared rooms. And then there is a shared communal bathroom. The hotel will provide towels, robes, and slippers for the communal bathrooms in each room. In Montreal, it's going to be double beds, a stereotypical hotel room layout. You know, each room has its own bathroom, et cetera, et cetera. And there are going to be 4 people per room in Boston, in Montreal. Do we need to? No, you do not need to buy train tickets in advance for the local Boston Metro. We would only recommend if you are traveling outside of Boston. So there's a metro system, Amtrak, to go to different parts of the United States. If you want to go to New York City, Washington, DC, something like that, we would recommend buying tickets in advance for the Amtrak, as those can sell out and then you will just be bumped to a later train, which is inconvenient. And so back to bedding. So 4 people per room in Boston, Montreal. In Nettinga, we are also doing bunk beds. Nettingos namale, Nettinga cabins, allow up to 12 people to stay in the cabin. And then there's going to be a vadovas, a counselor, so volunteers that we are asking to recreate what it's like to have a counselor at camp. They will be staying in a separate counselor room in the cabin. And there's a bathroom with a sink, toilet in each cabin. There is a separate shower house for the girls and for the boys. At Neringa, these shower houses contain, let's say, 6 to 10 showers in each house. And that is for everyone to use.
I skipped one thing earlier, so I'll go back to that now. Alina will put a link in the chat for information about taking a free bus to get to the hotel on the first day when you arrive in Boston. And basically, the first day, what we're gonna do is our committee will be set up in a park that's not far from our hotel, and we're gonna have food and games and music, and it'll be very fun. And we'll sort of be hanging out there for many hours while everyone arrives. So we'll feed you and you'll get registered and all that. But what you can do, and what we will ask you guys to do, is when you get to the airport, to go to the hotel first, drop off your luggage there, and then head to the park. And we'll help facilitate that. And we sort of have a thing written up for how to do that. And then when we're all at the park, we'll wait for everyone to get there. And then we'll sort of have a little opening, and then we'll all walk to the hotel together. We'll get checked into the rooms. And then that evening, we will head to a Boston Red Sox game. So there is no better experience on your first day in America than to go to a professional baseball game. So it'll be a very warm welcome. But that's how the first day is going to go. And we'll send out more info about that as June 14th gets closer. But that's how that's going to work. So I think that's it about logistics, transportation, and hotels. So now, Alina.
So a little bit more about the delegatų suvažiavimas, so the delegate conference, I'm sorry. So for the conference, we're going to ask every youth association to have a quick little presentation, pristatymas, about who you are, what you guys do, where you guys are from, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to happen in the morning in Boston on the 15th. We are asking that everyone make this presentation no longer than 2 or 3 minutes. You don't need a PowerPoint or anything like that. Just a quick who you are, where you're from, et cetera, and who are all of your NADE, all of your members. Then for resolutions, we're asking everyone to start thinking about what kind of resolutions you're going to want the Lithuanian World Youth Association to adopt during Kongresas. We are going to send out a video that kind of explains how resolutions work, what's an example of a good resolution, what's a bad resolution, et cetera, et cetera. And then we would also like you guys to start thinking about running for the different positions that are going to be that we are going to need to fill during the Congress. So this includes whether or not you want to be on the Lithuanian World Youth Association board, whether or not you're going to want to be on Kontrolės komisija. So this is the auditory commission, right? Yes. And then whether or not you want to be.
Sorry, just a quick correction. Not anyone can be on the audit commission. It's only for the current board members or the members of the former board. You have to have been at the board of PLJS to know how to advise the future board. Sorry about that.
Yes, ačiū, Aglė. That is correct. And then lastly, if you want to be on the voting counting commission, this can also be anyone. This commission will comprise of about 3 people, 2 to 3 people. And then if you want to be on the resolution editing commission, that is a very, very important commission, again, comprising of about 3 to 4 people. If you are interested on being on PLJK, on the Lithuanian World Youth Association, the deadline to submit your name will be the Saturday that we are in Neringa on the 17th, in the morning during flag raising. We will make another announcement while we are all at Neringa to remind you guys. But just as an initial announcement, there will be a deadline to submit your names if you do want to run on that board. Okay, and then moving on to other general questions or concerns. So if you guys have some sort of medical emergency, God forbid, during Congresas, there are urgent cares in the US. These are clinics that take you in same day and can give you a prescription for medicine or whatever you need. If it's something more severe, we will take you to a hospital in the US or in Canada. At Neringa is a camp, remote. So the nearest urgent care is about 20 minutes away, and same with the nearest hospital. We will take you there. They know about Neringa, they know about the camp, and they know who we are. So no concerns there, but just as an FYI, please do not get severely injured. Yes, Neringa is in the woods. There is Wi-Fi at Neringa. We will not be giving out the Wi-Fi to everyone and their mother. The Wi-Fi is for those with laptops, for the Kongreso komitetas, for those that need it. Cell service is okay, but spotty. So if you have anything on your phones that you need to save or whatever before you go to Neringa, do so in Boston. Yes, there's unreliable. Please, Agla.
One question, what are the costs of data plans in the United States? Because I made the mistake when I went to Canada last year, not sorting out my network provider, and it turned out that buying data on the spot cost an arm and a leg and a kidney on top of that. So considering that you said that Wi-Fi would only be available to people who have laptops and use them for work purposes, etc., etc. Well, I imagine people will want to use the internet for one reason or another. So yeah, it would be nice to know about the costs of data plans, etc., etc.
Yes, data plans in the US cost around $15 to $50 on average. Yes, ačiū Maksimai. There are many websites and companies that offer cheaper data plans and some data plans that pair with EU or other networks. We would recommend looking into your specific data plan and seeing which US network pairs the best. The most popular networks in the US are AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. So yeah, that is what we recommend.
You might need one for the US and one for Canada, or maybe you can buy a SIM card or get a data plan that would count for both countries. I think it might just take some research to find what's best for you. And if you need help with that, reach out to us.
And if you want to buy a SIM card, you can buy it at the airport or at a convenience store. And we can point out those convenience stores for you in Boston and in Montreal when we are there.
Okay, the last few questions we'll go through, and then we'll see if any of you guys still have questions. Some of these were emailed in or asked of the committee. So if someone asked about like participation in the program, and if they start to feel really exhausted and tired from everything, can they take some time to themselves and so on? We do have a pretty full program. There are times, there's like free time built into the program, and there will be time to rest as well. We do ask that you do everything with us that is scheduled into the formal program. And you know, if 3 days in a row you're asking us to go take a nap when we're about to vote on something, then that night Maria will come find you and we will go to bed at 9 p.m. together, so that you don't ask a 5th day in a row if you can take a nap when we're about to do something. So do be smart about when you go to bed. I think anyone who's participated in Kongresas or Suvažiavimus in the past knows that sometimes people don't sleep as much. So be responsible about that first so that we don't have to get to the point where you're asking to go take a nap or leave in the middle of when we're about to do something important. And also keep in mind that there's a group of about 15 of us who have been planning this program since July of 2021. And so we would really love for you guys to be there because we poured a lot of ourselves into it. Of course, if you are exhausted to the point of nausea or whatever, and you have to go lay down, or if you need to rest, or if you need some time to yourself, just let us know and ask and go and do that. But do be smart about going to bed at a reasonable hour, sleep on the bus, sleep at night, and hopefully we don't have to get to that point. So if you really are exhausted, we'll let you take some time to yourself, but we do ask that you be with the group the whole time because we put a lot of time and effort into planning this program, and it's for you, and we're paying for like 99% of it. So we would love to see you involved in everything the whole time as much as you can, but we also don't want to, really exhaust anyone. Okay, during our program, there are going to be 2 Catholic masses. One will be Sunday the 18th in Neringa, and Father Antanas Saulaitis, who was very involved in the beginning of PLJS, he'll be with us, and so he'll be doing that mass. And then another mass will be happening on the 20th in Montreal, and that mass is actually to honor Monsignor Edmundas Putrimas, who many of you might know. And that mass will be open to like other members of the Lithuanian community. So for both of these masses, if you maybe are not Catholic or faithful or whatever that may be, if you don't want to attend the mass, that's all right. In Neringa, we might ask you to help with something else, or if you just want to spend some time by yourself in the cabins, just let us know ahead of time. When we're in Montreal, when we're at mass, you can head down to the basement of the parish where our next event will be happening. And we might also ask you to maybe help set up, or you can just hang out down there with everyone else. But yeah, it's if you are able to attend that mass, we do invite you to, since they'll be kind of special, especially for Father Putrimas, who passed away recently. Okay. How many participants will there be altogether? So there will be about 110, a little bit more, 110 people who are attending the entire Kongresas, traveling on the bus from beginning to end. There will be about 20 or so volunteers in Neringa who will be the vodovai, or the camp counselors, or helping in the kitchen, and they'll be staying in other cabins. So they'll be there. And then in Boston and in Montreal on June 15th and then June 20th, there will be these 2 big events that we welcome other members of the Lithuanian community to join. And there could be up to 100 people extra at each of those. That's like the capacity that we have for that. So there will be about 110 of us, plus maybe another 100 people at those events. People are still signing up for those, so we won't know for sure until later. And then there also will be in Boston, a group of local Lithuanian youth who will join us either at the Red Sox game or when we're walking around the cities, maybe 20, 30 of those. And then in Montreal as well, when we're kind of hanging out in the city, there will be local Lithuanian youth from Montreal will also be with us. So overall, we have the potential for like somewhere around like 300, 350, 400 people who will be at some point involved in Kongresas, but there will be 110 of us traveling the whole time from Boston to Neringa to Montreal, which is pretty cool. That's a big number. So thank you guys for signing up for this event. Okay, someone asked about what they don't recall what they filled out on the form in terms of dietary restriction. Whether you are vegetarian, vegan, whatever that may be, if you can't do dairy or something, we are taking into account all dietary restrictions, and there will be some sort of option to accommodate every person who might have a dietary restriction. If you do have a dietary restriction and you're still concerned about that, maybe bringing your own snacks is not a bad option, but we really will do our best to try and accommodate whoever we can throughout every single meal. And the people who are catering for us or providing food or cooking are aware of all of that as well. So we will certainly honor all of that.
Just one thing to say. In order to do so, we asked, and a lot of you have already done this, to let us know beforehand. So if you have not let us know already, please let us know if you have any dietary restrictions. If you don't let us know, we won't know and we won't be able to accommodate you. So in order for us to do our best to work with you, you have to let us know.
I think someone else asked that since we're going by bus to Montreal and then some people might be coming back to the US afterwards, do they need a visa? I don't know, what's a diplomatic way to phrase this? You should, if you're already going to be in the US and you need a visa, then you already know that you need a visa at that point. So it shouldn't be anything different just because you're going from Canada back into the US. If you need a visa for the US, if you need a visa for Canada, you should know that by now and should have taken care of that. And if you haven't, reach out to us, but it shouldn't matter that you're leaving to go to Canada and coming back. It should be just the one thing to take care of all of that. And then what amenities are available at the 3 places that we're staying at. So we have written down here that there are washing machines available in Neringa if you need that. Otherwise, we can all go down to the Prudas together and do laundry. No, I'm kidding. There are washing machines available if you need that. And it looks like there are hair dryers in the hotels if you need that as well. I'm not sure if we have this on our packing list or not, but make sure that you have not only adapters, but converters as well for anything that you need to plug into a wall. The adapter will just allow you to actually plug it into an American or Canadian outlet. And then the converter will make sure that the voltage is okay so that you don't fry your laptop or something like that. Shower shoes for Boston. Yes, so the bathrooms, the showers are like communal in Boston and also in Neringa, and so it might be good to bring a pair of flip-flops or sandals that you don't mind getting wet for both Boston and Neringa. And in general, I think in Neringa, flip-flops is a good thing to have. So yes, okay, I think that concludes all the questions that we thought of and any questions that people sent in. So if there's anything that hasn't been addressed yet, is it necessary to have cash at any point? It is not necessary. It might be good to have some in case of an emergency. If you get really lost and need to take a bus back to the hotel or something like that, it might be good to have in case of an emergency. But it is not necessary. Like Alinla said, there will be one point in Boston and one point in Montreal where you can go wherever you want for lunch, but we will be giving each of you cash. But it won't be enough cash for you to have a 3-course meal. So if you want more, if you want to order more food or buy more food, then that would cost more than what we give you. It might be good to have more cash, but there's no point where we're like, there's nothing that you will need to buy and have cash with. Is there anyone to contact for accommodation prices or to host us for a few days before or after the Congress? So there was a link I had sent earlier. Maybe Aninla can copy and paste that and repost it. We did come up with a list of recommended places to stay in Boston. So you can see what the pricing is there and you can contact them. And also staying at Airbnbs is pretty popular, I think, in Boston and Montreal as well. In terms of staying with people prior to the Congress, I guess if you knew someone personally, you could reach out to them. I don't know if we necessarily want to volunteer every Lithuanian family in Boston to take someone in unless they're volunteering for that. But you can reach out to us if you do need help finding accommodations for the couple of days before or after the Congress. yeah, we can certainly help point you in the right direction. For that, is the main events with the bendruomenės, we need to dress up. Wait. Yes, having to dress up. Yes. So we mentioned earlier, and it's on the packing list, you should bring at least 2 nicer outfits. I'd say something that you can wear to church or something that you would wear to like a nicer dinner. It doesn't have to be too fancy, but dresses or skirts or like nice slacks or like a button-up shirt for guys is fine. You don't need suits or long ball gowns, but just something a little bit nicer. Yes, so people are sending questions in the chat. You guys can keep doing that. If it's a question you don't want to ask in front of the group, you can message one of us privately or email us. You can unmute and ask a question. Again, you can email us at any point. You can DM us on Instagram, whatever that may be. So if there's any other questions, you guys can ask now, or you can wait till everyone signs off if you want to ask more in private with just the committee. But otherwise, we will send out an email very soon. So please do make sure that you fill out and sign the liability waiver and the code of conduct. Make sure that you fill out the form that indicates when you are arriving and when you are departing. And then we'll also send the recording of this session as well. Or maybe, I don't know if we'll send that with that email or later on once it's uploaded to YouTube. But yes, thanks so much for joining us. We hope this was informative, and yes, see you guys so soon.
Yes. Raimundas asked if there will be a WhatsApp or a Facebook group. We are going to use Slack for all the delegates. There we will post everything about resolutions. We will make channels for, fun conversations, et cetera, So please have Slack downloaded and the most updated version of the app.
Where do you recommend to check for insurances? Elena, do you have? I'm not sure actually.
I don't think we have any place that we
Yeah.
recommend. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
any companies across the US that take care of travel insurance are fine.
Okay, so if anyone needs to go, you can certainly sign off. Otherwise, if you want to stick around and ask a question when there's not as many people, please stay. Otherwise, Luca, I think you can maybe stop the recording and